3, 2. What's going on, Distinguished DeGents? This is the Distinguished DeGents podcast. I am one half of the Distinguished DeGents. I am Steve. Big Bucks Beta. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all the DeGents. And joining me as always, my co-host, my partner in crime, it is Jason Money Mansmann. Money Mansmann started off the Thursday night with a clean slate as far as your betting goes. Tell us a little bit about it. Happy holidays to you and yours, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. Yours as well. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all you DeGents out there. And the good guys finally got one on Thursday night. Holly freaking you.
Yeah, they did. So funny story. And again, this happened to me last week and it happened to me again Thursday night. And as I basically mentioned in our recap episode, some of my actual bets this week may not be reflective of the handicaps, but it's because I have futures bets. I want you all to know, fuck the futures bets. We're betting per week. I would rather win as much as I can this week than I will wait in 2 weeks. But it was a great week for Big Bucks here because not only did he hit the Rams -4, had a really bad break on the Saints under 20.5. However, with this Rams win, my Saints under 9.5 team total did cash 2-unit profit there. So broke even on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, there you go, man. There you go.
So got the under 9.5. We're currently at 8 on the Kaser bet. We have 2 games left to go. Money Mansmann, your thoughts and comments on the Kaser bet as it lays.
Well, I mean, I told you before I thought I was gonna lose it. Now I can really only push. Saints are bad, but yeah, I profited. I profited yesterday. Thank you to. I had my big hit was a 5-1 same game using a bonus bet, no less, which was beautiful.
What? There you go.
Yeah, bonus bet. 5-1. Rams -7.5 alternate spread. Kyren Williams over 87.5 rushing yards. And Alvin Kamara over 4.5 receptions. I can't take all the credit. A lot of those came from the betting podcast I listened to, but we got it done.
Was it the Bet US or was it one of Steve Fezzik's crazy teasers?
Yeah, it was one of Steve Fezzik's crazy.
I watched one of his episodes for the first time for week 16, and let me tell you, like, they are overly nerdy on another level here. Like, some of these games, they're like talking like 10-point teaser, and I can't tell if they're going up or down. I can't tell like what their logic is half the time. They're just like, yeah, you might as like, I'll take Chiefs straight, but not a 10-point teaser. And it's like, what?
No, you're 100% right. Like, they are very. If you've ever watched like the Dream Preview, they are very like analytical when it comes to like the value behind betting, which I think is good. Like, I think you need a mix of both. Like, I think you need SGPN that looks at it from a more like practical, which team's better sense. And then I think sometimes you need the numbers games because like perfect example with them, they'll literally go and it'll be like, well, I didn't really like Pittsburgh +3.5, but the value is great. So I had to bet Pittsburgh +3.5. And then it's like Pittsburgh loses by 15. And they're like, well, it was a good value bet. And it's like, no offense, dude.
And then you go to SGPN and they go to SGPN. They're both just like, the Steelers are fucking dog shit. They suck. Yeah. Like, what are we doing? And I will say, like, speaking of mix, that's kind of what we were hoping to do, but they have more resources and databases than I'll ever have the time to access. They make that their full-time job. This is basically our podcasting time that we like to give to the people out for free. Yeah. But regardless,
I will say before we sort of my lesson from the last game and my lesson for the week, I definitely want to pay attention to more sources rather than just like, these are my bets and I'm just going to sort of truck away. Like, I really want to pay attention to like what you say, what SGPN says, what a couple of the other sort of podcasts are doing, just because I feel like the more information you get and the more perspectives, like if the Sharps agree, you agree, I agree, SGPN agrees, like, a couple other podcasts agrees. What it tells you is, wow, if you're looking at it numbers wise, this is good. Injury wise, this is good. Pure sort of power ratings, this is good. that's really when you know you have a good pick, as compared to just sort of, oh, well, I'm going to bet this team because I think the other team sucks. That's a Barney play. And if the numbers are against you and the power ratings are against you and like half the sharp podcasts are going with the other team, you should at least be reevaluating what you're doing.
One more podcast I'll shout out for, and it was the Favorites podcast out on the Action Network, and they went on a little bit of a tangent during their episode, but I actually really loved what they said, and what they basically said was some of these sports capping shows, basically, sometimes they'll get way into the analysis, they'll get way into the numbers. I had that issue before in the past, but basically the trends. Some people don't want to hear trends. People just want to hear, what do you think of the game? Who sucks? Who doesn't? Who's injured? But I think sometimes it's important to pay attention to the trends, and that's basically what he said. Like, the trends are not the reason we make the bets. The trends are what pushes us towards making a logical conclusion on, it's not that, a team is going to be perfect ATS in a specific scenario every time. But if you have a team who's 15-2 in the last 17 and you're getting a decent number, it pushes you towards, I should take this again. This is a profitable trend, and this is how people make money. And you have to keep that in mind when you're making these bets. You have to basically keep all of that encompassed, but know that, know when to be analytical, know when it's just a trend. And, if you want to be the gut play, be the gut play, but you have to own that's what it is.
And thankfully, to sort of tie a nice little bow on last night was one of those times where it's like, you like the Rams. I like the Rams. I think the majority of the podcasters like the Rams. And it was like, wow, this is only like a 4.5 point
The public
spread.
was even on the Rams.
Yeah, this was a no sweat. This game was a no sweat. Yeah. I have a couple parlays with Rams minus 4.5 that are very much alive. So this is the first Thursday where I've gotten up in a while where I feel like I've gotten off to a really good start. So excited.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we got 15 Christmas weekend games in the NFL every fucking day. Merry Christmas to us. Gotta say, the scheduling made this very weird to handicap, but I am very much looking forward to a whole weekend of NFL football, just nonstop. You couldn't ask for better. I wish I could ask for better matchups in some cases, but I think I think a lot of these 6 weeks ago you could look forward to in the past. Now, because you have third string quarterbacks here and there, people are hurt, it just kind of diminishes the value.
Yeah, but it's a really tough week because I feel like there's two objectively, forget betting, forget fantasy football. There's probably 2 or 3 interesting matchups, and then the rest is dog shit. So,
yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And speaking of fantasy, both of us, week 16 playoffs, you got a decent head start. I kind of caught a lucky break. Unfortunately, I lost the bet with the under 20.5, but with that late touchdown and 2-point conversion, it dropped my opponent's defense, the LA Rams, down to a total of 4. He also played Taysom Hill at tight end, got a whopping 0.2.
Oh, so you're in the finals. You're in the finals.
So don't never say never.
You're in the finals against my opponent who had Matt Stafford. Although I got lucky, he only had 28, considering it looked like he was going to go for 50 in the first half when he had two touchdowns and fucking 200 yards passing at halftime. So got a little bit of a break, but it's going to be you and Nick for.
We'll see. And if it is me and you, I think we got to do a live reaction rager. I mean, this is going to be.
Oh, if it's me and you, you're getting your third. Bro, I suck. You're probably going to get your third anyway, honestly. It's crazy.
We'll see. We'll see. I hope so, but we're not here to talk about fantasy.
Yeah, we better get moving.
Yeah, we got 15 games, 2 Saturday games, 3 Monday night games, 10 games on Sunday night or Sunday. We'll start on the Saturday slate, of course, and FanDuel odds are what we use here at the Distinguished DeGents podcast. Make sure you always get your best number. Make sure you always check your books. And we're going to go ahead. We're just going to kick this off. Oh, boy. We got to start with this dog shit. It's the AFC North divisional matchup. It's the Cincinnati Bengals catching 2.5. They're laying 2.5 on the road, minus 144 on the money line. And the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 124 Mike Tomlin, home dog, over under 37.5. Currently, the Bengals getting 75% of the money and 77% of the bets. I believe you went first the last time. I will go first here. Oh boy. So I touched a little bit on this in the recap, and once again, I'm going to ask, how do you back the Steelers moving on? Normally, this is the spot, kind of like a lot like last week. It's going to be a very similar handicap, but it's a spot you normally would want to back them in. The number of fucking excuses and the shit play, not just by Kenny Pickett, but from Mitch Trubisky, the lack of effort or no effort of George Pickens, his pathetic excuses for not trying. And then literally in the next press conference, the shit response from Tomlin, which was essentially all but, well, the way he talks to you guys in the media versus how he talks to us behind the scenes is not the same. We'll have a different conversation. That was like the most spineless fucking answer I could have ever seen Mike Tomlin give in terms of what George Pickens did last week against Indianapolis, not guarding the fucking CB, letting Jalen Warren get tackled. And now you have some I hate to say it, I think you have some locker room riff after hearing all that. I don't know how you don't. Tomlin, I think, is losing this locker room. I don't know how he isn't. And Tomlin is a home dog. It's a strong play. He's 5-1-1 ATS against division opponents since 2018. But this season, he's only gone 2-2 as home underdogs. They did beat the Ravens in like very weird last-minute fashion. Then they beat the Browns on Monday Night Football where they had zero offensive scoring. And these teams already played this year. It was a 16-10 ugly-ass game. Now you're getting a fucking Mason Rudolph who, weirdly enough, 3-0 against the Bengals, 5-4-1 ATS as a starter, but he's 0-1-1 as a spot starter when he takes over for injuries. This is like a weird-ass team that has 3 different NFL quarterbacks that have the exact same level of talent or lack of talent.
One's worse than the next.
but besides all that, here's the trend. 9 straight for the Bengals in the month of December.
Yeah.
Hard to back a team to win 2 times against the same team, especially within a division.
True.
Steelers, they dropped 4 of their last 5 straight up in ATS. This isn't a team I want to back right now. This is a team spiraling out of the playoff race. This is a team whose head coach is losing the locker room. You have the Bengals team who's starting to back the backup quarterback, and they're defending him. I know Jamar Chase is out. Fuck it. I don't even care. He could be out the rest of the year. I still might back Jake Browning in this position. So give me the Bengals laying the 2.5 on the road.
Yeah, this is I'm gonna come out and say it. This is an avoid game for me because like my initial inclination after putting all the trends together, and Cincinnati hasn't been good against the North. I think they haven't covered like 6 straight against the AFC.
They're not
North
good,
now.
no.
Like the trends told me, especially at 3, that the Steelers were the play. But I'm with you, man. Like the number may get me to where like it's Steelers or nothing. I just, like you said, man, like one quarterback's worse than the next. At 2.5, I think Cincinnati, God, it's just like Cincinnati seems to me to be the right play under 3. But
I don't even think it's literally, it's the same thing as last week where you had the Colts on the road or against, I forget what the record was the Steelers had against the Colts, where it was like a stupid number where the Colts just never beat them.
Here's what I'll say. Chase is out. Best nose tackle. They were talking on one of my podcasts that the best nose tackle for the Bengals is out. That's going to hurt their run defense. And you know me, I never liked to bet a team that was essentially outplayed last week, but still got like a fluky win. I feel like the Bengals have gotten a couple fluky wins. I'm wondering if this is the week where it's like it catches up with them. But
yeah. No, this is like I said just earlier. Even when you look at the analysis, you look at everything, you have to sometimes just sit and say, you know what? I don't care. I'm taking this side. It's a gut play. It's maybe an emotional play, but you know what? I'm still gonna live and die by it. If it's wrong, I'll eat
Oh,
it.
yeah. And I'm going to be smart. This is a game I'm going to pass. I'm not going to chase the money. I'm not going to try a teaser, no alternate
Oh
spread.
no.
Like if I bet this game, I'm going to be looking, in the prop arena and sort of see what I could find
I
for
I have a
game
same
stuff.
game parlay on this matchup because I
Ooh.
just have a feeling, but and I will say it's kind of a double correlated because it is Mason Rudolph. So I have Rudolph over on the yards. I have a Deontay Johnson to get a touchdown. Johnson has like 8 touchdowns with Mason Rudolph. It's at starting quarterback. He's actually like his number one, like his big target. Him and Fryermuth, I expect big games out of. Cincinnati, once again, they're very terrible at the tight end. So I would look at Fryermuth props if I were you. But like I said, I think the Bengals will win. So I took them with the money line, and then I think I had I want to say it was under points because it's an AFC North division game and it's going to be low scoring. It usually is.
I actually thought over because, again, Cincinnati missing a big run defender. Minka Fitzpatrick's going to be out for the Steelers. So I thought that this might be an over game, especially, I don't know, it feels like these primetime games. Well, I guess not the Monday Night Football game. I don't know. It seems like the over is making a comeback, and some of these teams are playing over games, but you know me, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that. And I
It's
like your
Steelers
Deontay
Bengals.
Johnson, Pat Fryermuth plays. That's
Yeah, I'd
interesting.
look into that more. If you're into the props, that would be my look at. But no, for me, this is like I think the Steelers are going to get a lot of yards. They're not going to get a lot of points. Mason Rudolph, I think, will be the most serviceable out of the 3, but I don't think that's really saying much. I think we know what
Yeah.
we're going to get with him. You're getting a Bengals defense, like you said, who is hurt. So I see the yards. I just can't get there with the Steelers on points. I just can't back them. I can't even see where they win. The
No,
Bengals
I
could be
can't
down
either.
13 in the 4th and they could still come back and win.
Yeah.
I mean, 16-13, they would win and
I don't
cover.
even feel confident enough in like a Pittsburgh first half where maybe they blow a
No.
lead late again. Like I can't back Pittsburgh. I'm with you. I just can't back them.
What the heck? Yeah. Okay. We are good. All right. Moving on. It's the next Saturday game. We talked off air a little bit. You said we were going to fight today. I hope it's not this game. And again, like I said, folks, some of these are going to be analytical. Some of these are going to be emotional. This is probably going to be an emotional game versus an analytical game. It's the Buffalo Bills laying 12.5 on the road, minus 820 on the money line, over under 43.5. Chargers plus 570, plus 12.5. And it currently, the Bills getting 80 to 85% of the bets and the money, according to FanDuel. And is there going to be a dead cat bounce here with this new Chargers interim head coach, who I believe we said it was Giff Smith, who is an outside linebackers coach?
One area on the team where I guess they've had some success. The
I
outside
mean, well,
linebacker.
although like picking players up, but keeping them healthy and on the field,
then
maybe
again,
not.
let's be honest, when your defense is ranked like 28th in the league in scoring, maybe you haven't been that good.
No, I don't get it. Like, you had Kellen Moore. You literally could have played Kellen Moore. He must have said no. That's the only thing I could think of.
Don't ruin my career. Although my guess is that they're going for like Jim Harbaugh, and they just want to. They're going for Jim Harbaugh.
They just want a guy.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to pontificate on this game that much. Oh, what was the over under you had? 44.
I have 44, 40. I have 43.5 on my sheet.
Oh, 43 and a half. Okay, got it.
But yeah, it's still 43.5. So 43.5 is the total.
Okay, that's even better for me. Yeah, I'm not going to pontificate about this game too much. I'll give you the sharp argument that I've been hearing from a lot of people sort of all week. And I think it's a valid argument. Bills just won a massive home game against a really good team. They've played a bunch of tough competition in a row. They're getting basically a super motivated Chargers team that got basically pumped last week against the Raiders. So you're going to have the Chargers super motivated. This seems like the 1 week before 2 division games to end the year where the Bills can take a breath and sort of just coast to a victory. The idea is don't back the Bills at up a lot of points because they could just sort of coast and win this game by 10. I accept that argument. It's an interesting one, and I get the motivation. But, like, I mean, this Chargers defense, 28th in the league in scoring. Like, the Bills could put up 35 in the first half. And let's be honest, we know the Bills, when they win big. I mean, this is it's
Washington
dangerous.
Commanders, prime example.
Yeah. So I can't, like, my only way to look here is the Bills. I got to say, I'm a little nervous because I could see it. Like, I'm acknowledging the sharp argument, but, like, I mean, the Chargers have no offense. Keenan Allen's out again. Easton's stick.
Austin
The
Eckler's still irrelevant.
Sucks. Like, yeah, there's no. So really, where I'm going with this, over the week, the Bills might score 45 themselves. Like, the Bills could score 45 on this. If the Raiders could do it, the Bills could do it. And I think the Bills have a chance to give up a couple touchdowns late in garbage time. This is like a clear slam dunk over to me. I think a lot of the sharps assume that the Bills are just going to, like, run the ball 40 times again. No offense. No offense, like, the Bills still need to win. And I actually think Josh Allen is going to throw for 300 because the Chargers have no secondary. Like, the weakness is the secondary. They'll throw all day long if they can do so. So I'm not worried about that even a little.
You know, I thought we were going to fight on this. I really did.
No, we'll fight later on. Not really.
No. Okay, so there's no doubt that the Bills will straight up wise, the Bills will win. There's no debate. I'm not going to waste my time.
They better.
I know they fucking better. Okay. I'm with you on this. I should be a lot more confident in this to make this like a Barney Bester. And again, literally like the last game, what's the handicap for me? How do I justify betting on this Chargers team? Easton Stick, his stats looked good last week on paper. They are coming off 10 days rest. They're coming off the worst loss that the franchise I think they've had in history. Here's my problem. Forget the whole Bills situation for a second. This is week 16. Your head coach just got fired. You have your offensive linebackers coach taking over your whole fucking team. How do you back the team who got all of their points purely on garbage time, and you have absolutely nothing else to show for your performance in that primetime game? And all I hear about in regards to the spread is that should Buffalo be laying 12.5 when it was open at 10.5? And even at 10.5, sharps were like, why would I lay 10.5? This is a teaser. Bills are literally coming off a win against the Cowboys. This is like a big pussy move on the sharps, and I'm calling them out here. This is like the biggest pussy move y'all have done all year. You guys are so fucking afraid to take the Bills. Oh, for what reason? A dead cat bounce? Oh, so let me get this straight. You want to fire Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley, ding dong, the witch is dead. Let's run to the fucking books and bet the Chargers now without Justin Herbert or Keenan Allen. Eckler's still playing like dog shit, but no. Quentin Johnson, he'll catch the ball this time. Run to the fucking books, everybody. Take the Chargers, and that's what pisses me off.
Yeah. I will say, I'll give you that too. Like, if they were playing fucking Washington, I'd even say maybe the Chargers could come out super motivated and still lose by 17. Like, the talent disparity is just not there.
It's absurd. Oh, and by the way, the Bills. Let's go into some analytics. 3-0 ATS as road favorites against the AFC West. 6-0 straight up. 4-2 ATS as road favorites since 2022 when not facing division opponents. Oh, and one more thing. Bills in the month of December, 8-0, 6-2 ATS in their last 8.
Yeah, the good December team as well.
Give me the Bills.
Oh, and last point about the rest thing. You also have to remember, too, when you're talking about rest, the Bills starters basically didn't play for most of the fourth quarter. Like, that game was over so early. It's not like the Bills sort of went to war either last game. Like, that game was over.
Josh Allen
threw
for less than 100 yards because he didn't need to throw. It was It was a game where, Diggs barely, I think he had a couple catches, but, Gabe Davis, nothing. Khalil Shakir, nothing. Dalton Kincaid, I'm pretty sure he didn't get much either. It was a game where, you could expect that. And honestly, this time around, I think you're expecting, exactly what happened to Dallas, but, maybe worse.
Well, I think a lot of people.
I don't care how. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, just real quick. I think a lot of people, it's just all of a sudden, the Bills are a running team now, and they're just going to run the ball 50 times against the Chargers, and that's their game plan. I don't know why. The Dallas game, it was in the rain, and Dallas' defense, they're ranked 1 against the pass and 19th against the run now. There was a game plan to do that. Here, you got one of the worst secondaries in the league. Why would the Bills run it 50 times again when you have literally the worst second? Stephon Diggs might have 2 touchdowns in this game. There's no one on that.
This could be a Gabe Davis bounce back.
Oh, yeah, the Gabe Davis game. I playing on Gabe Davis, bro. Feeling lucky.
No, I got a Khalil Shakir anytime touchdown, though, 4-1.
I'd save that for next week, but we'll get into that next week. But yeah,
I don't hate that. We'll put a sticky note on that. But yeah, last point. Over of the week. I'm with you. This is a way too low number. The Bills could do this on their own. But the Bills defense, I think we both know, have had moments of susceptibility. And Easton Stick, if he's not going to get sacked every play and they have a game plan with Austin Eckler, I could see them getting at least 10-13, if not maybe a little more. And it just pushes the over just enough. So, yeah, double over of the week here.
Oh, baby, let's go. Okay, got to play that now. All right.
Yeah, I'm with you. Over 43.5 has to be the play. All right, moving on. It's the first non-conference game of the week. We're moving into Sunday. Indianapolis Colts now catching 2.5. They're plus 116 road underdog. They're traveling to the Atlanta Falcons. And the Falcons minus 2.5, minus 136. Once again, quarterback change with Taylor Heineke. Over under is set at a whopping 44.5 right now. Monty Mansmann, the Falcons fucked you last week. They seem to fuck you every week. They just lost to Carolina. Are you backing them now as a home favorite when they opened up as a 1-point dog? So I guess the real question is, do you believe Taylor Heineke is a 2-point swing?
Yeah, more than that, really. If they open up as a 1.5-point dog and Colts are now 2.5-point dogs, what's that, a 3-4-point swing now? 3-point swing? Ready? Here we go. Very analytical handicap coming. Why? Why? This almost was my dog of the week. It probably should be my dog of the week. There's actually a few games why this is why that's my handicap. Why you want to be a donkey? You want to play Atlanta as a 2.5-point favorite at home because Taylor Heineke's in, who they benched for Desmond Ridder 2 weeks ago. Okay. Okay. Look, Indianapolis, 6 straight losses against the NFC. Falcons haven't covered their last 5 at home. There's no reason to bet Atlanta as a favorite. It's got to be Colts here.
So you were afraid to make this your dog of the week. This is my dog of the week.
Yeah.
This was actually borderline my best bet. I had this written as my favorite of the week when I was originally handicapping this because I saw the line. And I saw Colts minus 1.5. I was afraid it was going to go the opposite direction. So I was like, oh boy, I'm getting the Colts minus 1.5 against the fucking Falcons.
CLV King.
With Desmond Ridder. And it was yeah. And then CLV King comes in. Now it's 2.5. Oh, and by the way, too, Jonathan Taylor expected to return for this matchup. So regardless if Zach Moss plays or not, you're probably going to get Jonathan Taylor. It does look like Michael Pittman will be playing as well. He is a full practice participant. Might be out of the concussion protocol by this point. Yeah, this one, and again, let's keep it simple. Atlanta needs to go on auto fade. You lost to Carolina in an ugly fashion. Even being responsible and saying that it was an ugly rain game, it was a road game for Desmond Ridder. Now he's home. Had he not thrown the pick, it would have been a different conversation here. But you know what? He threw the pick. Again. He got benched. Again. and we're getting Taylor Heineke again. Fuck that noise. Like they're not getting my money. Atlanta will not get my money here. I don't care that I like Heineke as much as a better quarterback. There's no way he is a 2-point line movement for me. Now the Zach Moss news with no Jonathan Taylor, no Michael Pittman, maybe that would explain it. But no, at this point, it's just Taylor Heineke, and then now it's up to 2.5. Unless there's something I'm missing from the Sharps, which I haven't heard yet. Like, I'll remind you, the Colts, they are road warriors, 5-2 straight up in ATS on the road this year, 3-0 straight up in ATS as road favorites, but now they're road dogs where they actually do have a big fear, where they're actually stick straight on the road as underdogs against the NFC that they have dropped. Here's my number to counter all that. Franchise history, the Colts are 15-2 all time against the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, Jesus.
They have lost once in Atlanta, and it was back in 1998. And yeah, like a lot of my stats were the Falcons as home underdogs, but Arthur Smith, like, really, do you really want to lay 2.5 with Arthur Smith as head coach? Maybe not utilizing Bijan or, Kyle Pitts, like, really, or do you want to take the fucking Colts who took Gardner Minshew and made him relevant again and get him as an underdog?
You might want to play a Colts to win the division money line. Colts to win the division, still plus 220.
Oh, don't worry. I got it at 5-1 2 weeks ago when we were handicapping.
That was smart. I should have tailed you on that. I don't know why I didn't. That's so bad. I'm like, oh, you should bet that. And of course I don't. Stupid.
Well, to be fair, that one, I didn't expect Jacksonville to get hurt. Because if Jacksonville had won last week, it would probably be a dead bet. But yeah, Jacksonville's going down. Houston, CJ Stroud, we'll get to them. They're going down too. Colts are the team look like they're going up. Yeah. I really believe they're going to take this division. And I got it at 5-1 or 6-1. I have to double check. But yeah,
I'm going under here, by the way. I'm going under. I have no faith in Atlanta to do anything. Under for me.
I had this as an overplay, and I think I did have a number for it, but I lost it. I want to say it's like Atlanta at home against the AFC. They have a big over record, but I'd have to research that real quick. But I mean, and also too, it is Taylor Heineke. If you believe in the hype of him being a better quarterback, you believe that there's going to be more production. It is a dome game, so weather isn't going to be an issue. And you're also talking about the Indianapolis Colts, the number one dead over team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know, man. This game has a higher over than the Bills game. It doesn't make sense to me. So
yeah, they're expecting what happened with the Cowboys when they had it at 48.5 or 47.5, and then the Bills just basically shut them the fuck out.
Yeah. So
I mean, I would look at the team totals maybe and try that again. If you're worried about the total.
Atlanta maybe team total under, maybe. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that might. Well,
they got to be over 21.
I don't know about 20. I'm thinking this is another 20.5, but I'm pulling it up right now. According to FanDuel, the Falcons' total points are 23.5.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Under is currently a minus 112.
I'm going to put. Okay, I'm going to put some of these in for.
Yeah, write this down, folks.
Yeah, I got to write some of these down because that I got to come back to. Yeah, Atlanta team total under 20. That could be a play.
Yeah, that I'd lock that in.
Moving on.
Okay, shit game number 3. It is the Green Bay Packers going to the Carolina Panthers. They're 4.5-point road favorites. The Packers are minus 230 on the money line. FanDuel still taking its time to load. I'll get you the Panthers money line number here in a second. The total for this game is 37.5. The Panthers are plus 164. The line has moved down to 4, so my apologies, folks. We're now down to 4.
Money, baby.
I'm going to acknowledge this real quick. The Sharps on all my podcasts are on Carolina this week with the points. considering the state of this Packers team, I actually can't 100% blame them. The Packers, they're 1-3 straight up in ATS as favorites this year. They're 1-2 versus the NFC South, 3-4 ATS, 2-4 straight up on the road. They've lost 5 straight on the road. Or they've lost 5 straight up. I got to double check that. Again, why are we betting on Carolina here? They won a game with no offensive touchdown because the Falcons suck. They won a game kicking 3 field goals because Desmond Ridder sucks.
In a game they were outplayed.
In a game where they were outcoached, they outcoached Arthur Smith because he sucks. And you're going to get the Packers off a loss under a touchdown here against the worst team in the NFL. Against an NFC South team who sucks. 8 straight weeks now, the Panthers have scored less than 14 points. And I'll go back to what I just said. If Desmond Ridder doesn't throw that pick and they win, are we getting 4 here, or is this more like a 7? Like, what's the handicap? The defense is better for Carolina? JC Horn is all of a sudden that much of a difference maker? Like,
here's the handicap I've heard. Well, you can't lay. Why are you laying 5 points with the Packers in any game?
These are the same sharps who are spineless, and they're saying, I can't back the Bills minus 12.5 against the Chargers team who just died against Aiden O'Connell. Just going to say that.
Yeah. I will say this is the one, like, this is the type of handicap that I think you do very well, and I agree with you completely. Like, I get the idea. Oh, well, why would you, like, lay 5 points, or now it's only 4? Why would you lay 4 points with Green Bay in any game? And I get that. But, like, your argument on the other side is nothing. Like, the Panthers are garbage. They're shit. And no offense, they literally just won a game, and it's like, oh, yeah, I want to back Carolina after a win.
Yeah, let's run to the books and bet. Let's run to the books and put all our money on Carolina now.
I hope it keeps going. I hope the Sharps knock it down to like 3.5. Like,
100%.
The Packers was not going to actually be a bet for me. It's looking like it's going to be a bet. I don't care about the 5 straight failed covers as favorites against the NFC South, which
That's
I talked about.
Thank you for saying
fucking that. Last time they lost to the NFC South as a favorite. This time around, I think I'm with you, man.
Is Bryce Young going to score? At the end of the day, is Bryce Young going to score?
Green Bay's got to be super motivated. This is their season. They have 8 losses. They can't lose another one.
Yeah, I mean, they're so bad with Bryce Young. Like, how do you get away from that when you were just screaming that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, you've pioneered this, and you're 100% right. If you're handicapped, like if you have nothing on the other side, like I think Packers have the motivation. They've lost 2 straight. This is, let's be honest, not that they've played good competition, but they're playing the worst team in the league. And it's like, no offense, if your handicap is literally just, well, why are you laying 5 points with the Packers? That sounds like me when I bet on Carolina against the Saints. Oh, well, why are the Saints laying 6 points? And it's like, well, what was my handicap on Carolina? Why would I bet them?
Yeah.
Crickets. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And this is going to be an underplay for me. Under 37.5, because it is a road game for the Packers and the offense for Carolina sucks. I just don't see a lot of scoring in this one either, but I see enough happening.
Indoors. I think it's going to be actually picked up Green Bay's defense in fantasy. So,
ooh, I hope that pays off. That's a sharp move. I really hope that pays off for you in fantasy. That was sharp. I got to give you that. I'm playing Miami's defense this week, benching the Colts against Atlanta. We're going to pray.
Interesting choice.
Well, so I've had like two or 3 weeks this year where I played the Colts and benched the Dolphins, and every week the Dolphins just outscore the Colts.
Oh, so there you go. Hopefully it'll work out. But
so it's kind of like am I going to do this now in week 16? Nope. I'm basically taking my lineup for what it is. I'm letting it ride.
There you go.
Got me. Yeah. Got it this far. What happens.
Yeah.
Okay. And one last note before we move to the next game. Even if you believe in the Panthers win, it was a lucky win. It was a lucky win. in the rain, in bad conditions. And the Packers just seem to be like a very unlucky team. They're getting bad beats. This is a bounce back spot for the Packers as well. So, laying the floor, taking the under here. Moving on. Okay, this one I think we're going to fight on. It's the Cleveland Browns. They're laying 2.5 on the road now. They were a 2-point road underdog originally, minus 154. Joe Flacco back in its starter. Houston Texans, plus 130, plus 2.5, over under 40.5. Is CJ Stroud starting in this one, or is he still out?
No, he didn't even practice today. He's out.
So he's out. So we got Joe Flacco versus Case Keenum instead of Deshaun Watson, the misogynist, and CJ Stroud, Deshaun Jr. All right. I believe it's your turn, or is it mine? I don't even know.
I think it's mine, I think, right? Yeah,
no, it's mine. No, it's mine.
Oh, yours? Okay.
Yeah, no, I think it's so I have a Browns under 9.5 team total win. This is like what should have been a Deshaun Watson revenge game.
Time to hedge.
We're now getting the whitest quarterback matchup since Brady and Manning. I wish I had the balls to bet Cleveland plus 2.5 earlier, because now this would have been a great middling opportunity.
Isn't it 2.5 now?
Browns opened as a 2.5-point road underdog.
Did they really?
Yeah.
With the Stroud news. Oh,
yeah. God. And I wish I had the Nads to pull the trigger then. I didn't have it. I waited to handicap. I mean, Case Keenum, you get a lucky win on the road or at home against the Titans. Now you're getting the Browns, whose defense still sucks on the road, but you're still getting a Joe Flacco, who's the best quarterback they've had this year. I'm only getting 2.5. It's close. It's not like a best bet or any stretch of the imagination, but I got to lay the 2.5 with Cleveland here, because the Texans, it's not that they're hopeless. I just don't know what they're going to do after seeing what they did against the Titans, and they just sort of had to come back. It was very, very strange game to watch, and it was really hard to handicap here. I just take the side of Cleveland as out of precaution, but no real big side one way or the other here.
Yeah, for me, this is podcast approved as well, so there's support for this. Best bet Cleveland Browns minus 2.5.
Oh, wow.
The numbers just, I don't think we realize how bad Case Keenum was. Let's be honest, the Texans were going to lose that game by 7, and it took a miracle catch from Dalton Schultz to save that game, and then they should have lost in overtime. Just to give you the numbers support this, Cleveland, 9 straight wins against the AFC South, 4 straight covers as favorites. So we have the numbers there to support that. It is true, Cleveland's on the road. That's why I lean to the over, because their defense does tend to give up some points to the over. But Case Keenum against this Browns defense, again, I know they're not as good as they were to start the year, but I think the Browns are clearly the better team. A win in this game basically sort of guarantees them a playoff spot. I think this is a clear win for Cleveland, and that the number is just, I mean, I think you could make the case this should be pick'em with CJ Stroud at quarterback, and the fact that it's under 3, I think, is a big mistake. So,
well, I think the line,
people on my pod had it as their, one guy had it as his best bet, the other one had it as his second ranked pick. I like the game from when I first started seeing it.
Yeah.
Too much going in Cleveland's favor. So that's going to be, hopefully, me, best bets. I'm 0-50 now. Hopefully I get one
well,
time.
You know what, though? I like this at plus 2.5. I should like it. You would think I should like it minus 2.5, but you know what? It was one of those, I should have pulled the trigger, because now that Stroud is out, the minus 2.5, that's all we're going to get. The Case Keenum, really, he's a 2-point line movement to flip it. I mean, or 4-point line movement. Yeah, I think it makes sense here. It's not like the Atlanta game. So, yep, 100%. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns here. And I'm actually going to hit the over again, because, again, the Browns defense very susceptible. Case Keenum, he'll get you 17 solid.
Yeah.
So,
and I think this has a chance to be garbage time potential because I could see this being a Cleveland blowout. I really could.
Fair enough. All right, moving on to the NFC North in a divisional matchup. It's the Minnesota Vikings only catching 3 at home. They're a plus 128 home underdog. The Lions laying 3 minus 152. The over-under right now is at a 47. Money Mansmann. Vikings coming off a tough loss against the Bengals. The Lions coming off a big blowout against the Denver Broncos. Why are the Lions getting less of a cover on the road here than they were at home with the Broncos when it was only like a point and a half difference?
Yeah, this one hurts because when I first looked at the game, my thought was Lions -3. They're in a dome, better team. We saw what they did to Denver. Lions are the sort of play here. And then the Sharp podcast, again, another game where they all liked Minnesota. The idea being essentially like that Lions got a bit overrated after the win last week and that this is a good spot for Minnesota. And I will say the more I looked at it, the more I do agree it's a good spot with Minnesota. Like, if you look at it, 6 straight home covers as dogs against the North for the Vikings.
Yep.
Worse, Detroit, 5 straight losses in Minnesota. Motivation. Detroit, essentially, with the win last week and Minnesota losing, they're 3 games ahead in the standings. They have the playoffs locked up. Minnesota needs the game like blood. You expect Minnesota to be more motivated, especially after a tough loss to Cincinnati. So with all that, I want to bet Detroit. My logical side's telling me Minnesota. I guess my official play is Minnesota, but the 3 looks small to me. I don't know. That's just me.
I'll give you one more to back you up. Last 10 matchups between these two teams, Lions are 2-8.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, this is another. Again, not a big play. Don't really have money on this yet. Haven't decided if I'm going to bet it. Detroit is 7-3 ATS against division opponents in their last 10. They're 4-2 ATS as road favorites this year. I just personally think this Minnesota team with Kirk Cousins was the outlier with this Detroit Lions, and now you have a Nick Mullins. I'm not even going to talk really much about Nick Mullins, though, because I think he did look good against the Bengals. He put up hell of numbers, even with the 2 picks. This Vikings defense, they're too unreliable for me to back them here at under a field goal. Maybe plus 3.5, I'll reconsider, but at 3 right now, where it lays, I have to take the Lions. I'm not overjoyed by it. How many fourth quarter blown leads have we seen Brian Flores get to at this point in the year?
That's true.
They're home where they're 2-4 ATS. I would say the Lions, maybe you bet against them first half, take the Vikings, but Lions are 5-2 ATS in the first half on the road. The more I think about it, it's a field goal or less. Do I want to put it on Nick Mullins or do I want to put it on Jared Goff? I'd rather personally put it on Jared Goff.
I wonder if you think about under Jared Goff, because I forgot. This was one of the points one of the sharks made on my podcast. Jared Goff against the blitz, 29th ranked quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
His numbers against Brian Flores defenses, the last 2 times he's played them, played them against Miami. He had 4 interceptions, QBR of 28. The game before that, when Flores was still with the Patriots, was the Super Bowl where they scored 3 points. So they said that Goff struggles against Flores defenses. I don't know. We'll see if that's the case. That was just a point I felt worth mentioning. But I actually think it's going to be an over game. I mean, we've seen Detroit's defense, what they do. So
Yeah.
I'm expecting a lot of points. I'm hoping for a lot of points, preferably to Jordan Addison, who will probably get me 2 points for benching him last week. But we'll
Probably. I'm going to counter you with this. Minnesota lost at home to Chicago, who only kicked 4 field goals.
No, that is true. That's fair.
Detroit 5-2 ATS on the road. They've covered every time they won. I think this is a game they win. And the Lions are a dead over team, so I don't blame you. But this is actually going to be my under of the week at under 47. I think this number is just a little too high because you're going up against Brian Flores at DC, who's actually kept opposing quarterbacks very humble lately. And the Vikings are a dead under team at home. They're 1-5 this year. I think they're like one of the lowest. And Goff having those struggles, like you've mentioned, and the Vikings also struggling to protect Mullins on the O. Like, I could just see this being a defensive juggernaut type of game where both the Lions and the Vikings get sacks. Goff under stats. Nick Mullins throws 2 picks again. So, yeah, 47 just seems a bit high. Like, I see this being like a 2017, 21-17 maybe, or 24-20. I think 47 is a bit high. This is my under of the week.
Wow. Balls. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. All right. Let's fight. All right. I really hope we fight about this one. I'm not too excited to fight, but like I'm excited to fight. If this is it, let it be it. The Washington Commanders. Riverboat Ron rowing his old wrinkly ass up to MetLife Stadium. The New York Jets are laying 3 at home, -158. Commanders are 134 road underdog. 36.5 is the total. Washington getting 54% of the money, 58% of the bet. Seems pretty close to split. All right. You ready?
Trevor Siemian and Brett Rippon, by the way, that's the quarterbacks for the Jets this week. It's confirmed.
Oh, sweet Jesus Christ.
Confirmed.
It's the backups of the Denver Broncos are now the quarterbacks of the Jets.
Right.
Oh, my Lord. Okay.
So your handicap on this one there, buddy?
So I've had 4 different podcasts I've listened to. Only one out of the 4. Same fucking argument. Every week, this jackass. You just have to take the Jets defense here at this spot at home. The Commanders are terrible. And for once, I was keen towards leaning on that argument. Because I think this Jets defense on their best day could shut down this bland excuse of an offense. Then again, it is the Jets. And then again, it's Eric Bieniemy at OC. He could coach up a scheme if they would let him use it. He made Jacoby Brissett look good for 2 drives, for Christ's sakes. Like,
yeah, but now Commander Sam is back.
Which, I mean, I'm okay with that because, like, I just think he had a bad game. Like, truth be told, things are looking good lately. I think it just, like, there's days where you have a good quarterback and it's just not his day.
Fair. Okay.
That's my take on that. But then again, the Commanders, they've lost 7 of their last 8. They have 0 business showing up here. I gotta take, again, like, I hate it. I hate either side, but I'm taking the 3 with the commies. And I see it like this. They have the Niners coming up. They have the Cowboys too. I think if you're Ron Rivera, you know you're getting fired, but this is your last real game you have a chance at winning. If you just get rid of your old ass ways, if you don't take 4 minutes in the red zone, you go for 2. And I just think if you lose to Robert Saleh and the Jets, you might be kicked out a little earlier.
I will say that, like, teams off shutouts tend to fare very well the next week.
Yeah. The Jets have also lost 6 of their last 7. They have the Thursday Night Football look ahead against the Browns. They end the season against the Patriots. And I don't know. Like, I have one angle with Riverboat Ron. Washington 7-4 ATS as road underdog since 2022. It's like, who do you really want to back? I don't want to back any of these guys. I don't even really want to put money on this. Probably a no play in real life, but I'm not backing Salah. I'm not backing fuckboy Nathaniel Hackett with his cringy goatee. I don't want to back Trevor Siemian here. He looked horrible. I can't believe I'm saying that Zach Wilson looked better than an actual NFL quarterback.
No, you know what it is? You look at their offensive line, they can't move. Like, if you can't move behind that O-line, you're just dead in the fucking water. And Hackett's plays are so rudimentary that, like, unless you could create yourself, you're fucked. So a guy like Siemian is just screwed.
Siemian screwed. I mean, think about Joe Flacco. Look how terrible he was at the Jets. He goes to Cleveland, and he's just having a career resurgence.
I mean, he did throw 3 picks last game, but still won.
Well, that's the Joe Flacco effect in the regular season. He'll do that to you. But that's my point. Like, the Jets are just not a team that is going to score. It's not a team you want to back here. Washington, it's back-to-back road spots, though. That is my concerning point.
They average 14 points a game, the Jets, scoring. That's, like, insane.
This is God, it has to be an underplay here. Jets, by the way, Jets 1-2-1 ATS in non-conference games. I don't know, man. Like, it's a no play, but I can't take the Jets. I have to take the Commanders.
Under of the week for me.
Yeah.
And the reason why is I know, like, the Commanders' defense sucks, but it doesn't matter if, like, I know the Commanders' defense sucks, but the Jets' offense is, I mean, without Zach Wilson, with a stationary guy back there, I mean, they're just impotent. And I think the Jets' defense can, they'll hold Washington to like 17 or something. It'll be an ugly game. There'll be like 5 people in the stands. No one cares. Ready? Here's my discussion of the sides. Ready? Here's my discussion. No. That's it. No. Like, literally,
no fighting.
No.
Okay.
There's nothing. Like, there's nothing. 3 is like the worst number because it's like over 3, I'd want to take Washington. Under 3, maybe I'd want to take the Jets. At 3, it's like there's just
why?
Like nothing.
Why bet
like, it's just nothing. I can't do it.
You maybe wait till game day, see where the line movement takes you.
Honestly, it's one of those games where it's like I'm hoping Howell. I don't want to say hoping, but it's like Howell goes, he gets like knocked out in the first quarter, or he gets benched, and it's like if Brissett comes in, I'm gonna bet.
You'll live bet
Washington because I think with Brissett they'd be better. So, yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, what an ugly game. I endorse your under here as well.
There's some
by the way,
games this week.
Non-conference Washington on the road as a dog. I'll give out this stat before we move on because we have another non-conference game to talk about after this. NFC teams in non-conference games this year: 16-28 straight up, 19-21-4 ATS. Since week 9, they're 7-13 straight up. They're 10-6-4 ATS. So non-conference road dogs on the NFC side might be the profiting side, but at 3, this feels like a push.
Yeah, it really does. Really does.
So I maybe wait to see the line.
No, honestly, if it were me, Washington or nothing, because at 3 or over, you just got to take the points in a low-scoring game.
Yeah, concur with you there. We got a similar type matchup here, maybe not as bad. It's the Seattle Seahawks. They're laying 3 on the road, -174. Not sure who's quarterback for them. They're going to Tennessee. I'm not sure who's quarterback for them either. Titans are +144. Home underdogs for Mike Vrabel. Over under 41.5. And with the quarterback questions, the public seems to be on the side of Seattle here. 74% of the money, 72% of the tickets. Yeah, money Mansmann. I don't really know what to do with this. I have an angle. I have a side. I couldn't be swayed one way or the other listening to the other sharps this week. You had a strong feeling in the recap, so I wanted to see if you were going to still stick to it or if you would swayed your opinion.
Yeah, sadly, that strong feeling is gone. I like Seattle under 3. I actually have a parlay in where one of the legs is Seattle -2.5. Got that
okay.
early. This game just became unbettable because of. Here's my thinking. Here's what I'll say, right? I want to play Seattle because I feel like they have the motivation. They're coming off a big win. Tennessee has been good at home, though. My fear is if Tannehill plays, it like Tennessee 3.5's the play for me if Tannehill plays. If
Yeah.
What I'm actually hoping happens is that Levis can get cleared to go because he's going to be hobbled in the game. Tennessee might drop to like a 1.5 point, 2 point sort of underdog. And then I think that's when you go after Seattle. If Levis is playing or Willis is playing, I think you look at Seattle. If it's Tannehill, I'm probably passing altogether. I don't want to go against Tannehill.
Yeah, you took literally my handicap away from me. This hedges on who starts, but also on the Seattle side too. I believe Geno is going to start, but if for whatever reason he doesn't, you take Seattle because I don't know if I want to bet Drew Lock to win back-to-back games. If it's Ryan Tannehill or not, you take that side. If it's Geno Smith versus Will Levis, you take Geno. Here's the only numbers I have. Seattle 0-2-1 ATS in non-conference games this year. They're coming off a comeback win against Philly at home. You're getting the Titans who are coming off a gut-wrenching overtime loss again. They're knocked out of the playoffs, but they're 3-1 ATS against the NFC this year. And you also have the good old Mike Vrabel as a home underdog angle. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I don't know why I didn't do that, but I'll pull that real quick. Money Mansman, what's your over-under play here? And the number is currently 41.5, or did it drop? Still 41.5.
Under, real simple. Under because of the quarterback questions. With the quarterback questions, I think you got to go under until you get more information. I still think it could be under anyway. Like even with Tannehill, I could see the Titans trying to run the air out of the ball, running a lot. You know, a lot of sort of conservative play, but
is this a big Derrick Henry game? Do you think? Because with the quarterback situation,
Seahawks run defense isn't great. I mean, I'm afraid because I've seen Tannehill, like, they'll run the ball a lot, but Tannehill could make a few throws. Like, to me, if it's Levis, I'm not afraid because I think they forced the rookie to beat him. And, bro, that injury was gruesome. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be 100%. And if I really wanted them to play Willis, they're not stupid enough to do that. God, if it was Willis, like, you bet the farm on Seattle. Oh, God,
Seattle would be best bet. Like,
oh, my God, I wanted them to play Willis so bad.
It's funny. One of my coworkers actually went to Liberty with Malik Willis, and he was a big fan of his.
Oh, I'm a big fan of him, too. I love Malik Willis.
You love making money off of him.
I hope he gets a starting job somewhere next year. Like,
all right.
But
yeah. I'm on the under here as well. Well, actually, I had the overplay, but it was a lean. But I'm with you. I think I'm changing that to an underplay because there's really no good angle. I think it's a matter of if you get kind of the same handicap. If you get Tannehill and Geno, hit the over. If it's like Levis and Locke, take the under. If it's Levis and Geno or Drew Lock and Tannehill, take the under.
Yeah. This is the type of game where the Sharps are going to have a big advantage because they're going to get the info early and just like they're going to get the current line and then it's going to be Locke and fucking Levis and it's going to go to like 37.5 and the Sharps are going to.
So maybe depending on where you want the angle to go, like if you have an angle that Geno's not going to play and you know it's going to drop, maybe get it now, but
yeah. I would wonder if, like, if you're a Sharp, if you almost like pump and dump this, where literally, like, if I was a Sharp and knew it was going to be Locke and Levis, I had like inside info, I would just like bet like $100K on the under, and then just when it drops down to 37.5, you just put like 60 down to like freaking middle hedge sort of thing.
Ooh, that could be. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't fault. Shit, that might be a move. I'll have to see what my bankroll's looking like, but
Well,
I gotta get.
I can
We're
already
getting
tell you, mine ain't gonna have 100K. That's for damn sure.
no, well, no, but maybe 100 one way, 60 another. Maybe we'll see. Moving on. God, it's the third non-conference game. This one's ugly as shit too. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Looks like CJ Beathard is probably getting the start. I think.
Yeah.
Plus 102 for the Jags. Road underdog. Bucks minus 120, minus 1.5 at home. Over under 41.5. Jacksonville's still getting 55% of the bets, and they're getting 58% of the money. Okay. Here we go. You all know I have not been a fan of the Jaguars this year. I have faded Trevor Lawrence every chance I could. Been pretty successful at it. I think I'm over 50% lifetime. Mm-hmm. Now it's CJ Beathard. I don't mind that it's CJ Beathard. I don't mind that the Jags are an underdog now. Like, that makes sense. This was like a pick'em. It went to 3, and I was pissed because I was like, fuck, this is another game. I liked the Bucks, but I didn't hit it because I was scared, and I wanted to wait and handicap it. And then I handicapped it, and it was a 3. We're back down to 1.5.
Is it really?
Yeah. This was at 3 like 6 hours ago, and now it's 1.5 again.
Wow.
Why is this not 4.5? Why is this going the wrong direction? I mean, Tampa's home favorites were good, 3-1 straight up. I know Tampa as a team in general is very hit and miss. I know Todd Bowles' defense is very susceptible, but you're like, really? The way Baker Mayfield's been playing, you want to fade that? Like, I don't think this is the spot. I think that comes later. Personally, I know we've seen this song and dance with the Bucks, but I mean, God, am I missing something here? Like, this just does not seem like a spot I want to fade Baker.
Yeah. This is one of those spots where I really wanted to fade the Bucks because I don't think they're any good. And then it was like, this is where sometimes it helps to sort of, especially like if I'm doing my own research, I don't pay a lot of attention to like the injury reports and stuff. Mm-hmm. This is one where it helped to listen to a couple podcasts because they're like, oh, yeah, CJ Beathard's going to play. And, oh, by the way, the Bucks are also getting their 2 best run defenders back. And I'm like, well, fuck, I guess I'm betting the Bucks. And sure enough, now at like less than 2, you have to go with the Bucks.
Gotta hammer it. Gotta hammer it.
Yeah. Jacksonville 1-10 in their last 11 road games against the NFC. And we're getting CJ Beathard. It does scare me because I think the Jags are getting a step down in class, but with CJ Beathard, and especially if the Bucks could stop the run and force CJ Beathard to beat them, the way the Jacksonville team's playing, it's hard to really sort of go anywhere but the Bucks in this game.
Yeah, I don't know how you take the Jags here. It just, I can't wrap my head. Non-conference. By the way, we talked about Indy Atlanta earlier, and I took Indy as my dog of the week. This is my AFC non-conference road team stat. 12-16 straight up, 10-15 and 3 ATS. Jesus. Since week 10, 1-6 straight up, 1-5 and 1 ATS. So, yeah, this is the spot where, like, even ignoring that, you look at the team, I wanted to take the Bucks. Then you look at that trend, it's like one of those things that just helps you out. Not the biggest play, but, yeah, I think at minus 1.5, hit it now before it goes back up. Because I have a feeling by game time, you're getting 2.5 again, or 3.5.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, I am going to edit that real quick because I love that number. All right. Jumping ahead, next 4 o'clock game, we're in the 4:30 slate. It's the Arizona Cardinals. It's your favorite quarterback of all time, Kyler Murray, catching 4.5 on the road, plus 176. Bears, minus 4.5, home favorite, minus 210 for Justin Fields, over under 43. It's the battle of the NFC frauds, where Arizona is getting 53% of the bets and 57% of the money. Looks like the public is on the side of the Cardinals. Sharps on the side of the Bears. From what I hear, I think we're Sharps, but where are we going with this?
You should know where I'm going, baby. Joes versus pros. Kyler Murray on the road in the cold in Chicago. I mean, where do you think I'm going?
I know we are going to go, but if you do go that route, you have to justify the number.
Well, I think you justify the number because when you look at it, the Cardinals have one of the worst rush defenses in the league, which does not bode well going against the Bears. The Bears defense has actually been playing decent football lately.
That is true.
So, I mean, that bodes in your direction. And it's just like a really bad, like Arizona, 6 straight losses on the road against the NFC. It's a late season game. They're flying cross country to Chicago in December, playing an outdoor game in a lost season with a terrible defense. I like what the Bears defense has done more than Arizona. I think the Bears could just run on this Cardinals team. And I expect them at some point to just quit. Because let's be honest, it's going to be in Chicago, cold. I mean, I'll give this to you. The Bears, not one of the least profitable teams to bet on after a win. So I will 100% concede that point. I just think this is a bad spot for Arizona in the cold in December. I think the Bears just run big. I think the number's a little high, but again, I'm on the sharp side. The sharps like the Bears. I tend to like the Bears too, based on the way they're playing. I think they're better than Arizona, so I'll lay the 4. It's not my best bet. It's a little high, but I can't take Kyler Murray on the road in December. Can't do it.
Yeah. Well, if you can't take Kyler Murray on the road at 4, then I will have to do it for us. And you know what? For the sharps, for the specific sharp who loves to bet the Jets defense as his handicap every week and just get one right, I'll eventually fade all the sharps and get one right here. This is my fade of the week. We are fading the Chicago Bears as 4.5-point home favorites.
I mean, I can't fool you because I don't even have a fade of the week this week because I didn't have anybody to fade.
This is the one spot for me because, again, you have sharps who are on the Bears for Justin Fields. But, you're getting the Bears. They've won 3 at home. Justin Fields only accounted for the very last win against Detroit in a weird Detroit spot for them. And I don't care how bad Arizona is. There's just no excuse or sound logic in the world for me that you take Justin Fields and you lay 4.5 at home. Justin Fields has gone 3-2 straight up, but only 3-1 ATS as a home favorite in his career. He has not won and covered as a home favorite since 2021. He beat the Lions at their utter worst. His only other 2 victories since, it was 2022 against Davis Mills in Houston, and this year against the Panthers. Both times they failed to cover a 3 or 3.5-point favorite. Now I'm getting an extra point against an Arizona team who at least is 7-7 ATS at 50% as a road underdog since 2020. Since Kyler Murray has come back, they're 1-0-1, 2-0 ATS this year, depending on that Houston game where you got that number. But Kyler Murray's on the road since 2021, 9-4 straight up. Justin Fields at home, 5-13. These numbers for the Cardinals not being a good road team, I don't get it because now, look, this isn't the Rams, this isn't the Niners, this isn't the Lions, the Bucks, even the fucking Falcons or the Texans. You know what I mean? You're getting the Bears who just find creative ways to lose week in and week out. And again, the defensive matchup, I'll give it to you. It does favor Chicago here. They literally effing lost to Cleveland after picking off Joe Flacco 3 times. They could pick off Kyler Murray 3 times in this game, and I'll give that to you. It's just, I mean, the majority of the points that Chicago scored last week, they were 2 pick sixes. I just can't trust Justin Fields ever. And if the Bears defense could shut down Kyler, but unless they're getting pick sixes, I just don't see them keeping this game close. Arizona, they lost to San Francisco last week, I think it was, but they did put up 29. They beat the hell out of Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
I will give you one thing with the weather that does weaken my handicap quite a bit. 50 degrees come game time, so not completely freezing. A little drizzle, so there might be a little bit of rain, but it's not crazy. It's not freezing.
Yeah,
That's
look,
unfortunate.
Arizona with the points is my big play here. I would literally, if you were going to do an underdog round robin, I think you have to throw in Arizona.
See, I think there are better dogs on this card to throw in there, to be honest with you. But
couldn't fault the
fair.
logic.
I'll acknowledge your point, and I think you're right. At the end of the day, let's be honest, you've lost more money than you've gained betting on Chicago. So
exactly. And betting on Arizona on the road, money line or not, you're probably more profitable. So, I mean, and look, the plus 4.5, I just think the number is way too high. So, Arizona plus 4.5 under. It's an underplay for me, and it's the points I made about Chicago. Their offense, Justin Fields, they have not really done much in the last few weeks since he's come back. The defense has been shutting people down, keeping quarterbacks humble. I mean, you got 3 picks off Joe Flacco. So I think the number's a tad bit high here, but Chicago at home, I know it tends to be an overplay, but
yeah, I'm going to change that to under as well. I for some reason I had over, but I agree with you. I see a lot of running. I know Arizona's defense isn't that good, but there could be a lot of running. And if the Bears defense shows up, yeah, I could see an under type game.
All right. NFL Fox's game of the week coming up. It's the Dallas Cowboys coming off that manslaughter that they faced. Sorry, manslaughter. They got the shit beat out of them by the Buffalo Bills. They're catching a 1.5. They're plus 112 on the money line. Traveling to Miami, Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa, whatever. Minus 1.5, minus 132, over under 50.5. And of course, the public is all over Miami on the bets, but most of the money, sharp side might be Dallas. All right. I think this is my turn to go through. Here's what I'll say. Both teams are 9-5 ATS. They are both 3-1 straight up in ATS in non-conference games. Both teams are currently fighting for the division lead. I think both teams are essentially in a position to clinch the playoffs. I think Dallas has clinched. Miami has all but clinched if they haven't. This is a game where we're getting both starting quarterbacks. That's a positive. Dallas, after a loss, 3-0. They've won 3 straight in Miami. They've won 4 in a row against Miami. They've actually won 6 of their last 7, heads up. Best bet of the week, favorite of the week, Miami minus 1.5.
Can't fault it.
Yeah, this one I'm going against some of the sharps, but we just saw what Buffalo did to this Cowboys team. Miami and Mike McDaniel is literally going to do what Buffalo did, most likely, with or without Tyreek Hill, but better.
Yeah.
They have a way better running back core. They have a split committee with Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert. And by the way, Tyreek Hill, he's probably coming back this week. And God help the Cowboys if they do. Number 6 for the Cowboys, their cornerback that has all the picks. He also tends to get burned a lot like Trevon Diggs last year when every other play he was getting burned. You just see that happening again.
Deron Bland toast.
Yeah, Deron Bland toast. No butter. But again, like you think Tua can't throw. Let's say that. You know, Josh Allen, he just conducted the masterclass in how you hand the ball off to somebody and win by a minimum of 3 scores. Tua could do the same in this spot. And this is like a combination of, I'm going to fade the Cowboys on the road, who are 3-4 straight up in ATS. They've never covered and lost. And I'm taking the Dolphins as a home favorite. That's 6-1 straight up, 5-2 ATS. It's profitable. Cowboys are 0-3 ATS as road underdogs, and it's a league worse since last season. They're 2-5 ATS since 2022. Dolphins 3-1 ATS against the NFC. They're 2-0 straight up in ATS at home. So, like, this is the biggest home team in the AFC. This is like a bottom road team for the NFC. You're giving me a pick 'em. This is a best bet. I will lay a good chunk of money on Miami here. And if it loses, so be it. Like, it'll be a lesson learned. But, like, this is, again, the sharp angle is, oh, well, this is a good spot to take the Cowboys, so you just take the Cowboys. And Miami, it's like, well, look what they just did to the Jets without Tyreek. Against, again, one of the sharps, his handicap. Well, the Jets defense could shut down Tua, like he could give them problems, and they shut him out. What's this Cowboys defense going to like literally I would compare them to be somewhat on par, but like Miami could torch this team. Yeah. This is insane that it's a pick 'em.
So here's my problem with both of these teams. Miami has not beaten a team all year with a winning record.
This is the most common stat. This is the common stat I've heard, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'll continue. The best team they've beaten, Denver Broncos, 7-7 by a million. Dallas Cowboys, one team with a winning record, the Eagles, 2 weeks ago. So that's what makes this game hard, because it's like two teams at 10-4, and neither one of them like have beaten really any good teams. I wanted to go with Dallas, but I'm with you. Like the home road splits, we've talked about them a million times. Like Miami's good at home, Dallas is bad on the road.
Is Dallas on the road? You fade them. Is Dallas at home? Like, you take them.
Yeah, and especially too, Miami's defense has been playing much better recently. Dallas hasn't covered their last 5 as like underdogs. Mm-hmm. Miami can run better than even the Bills can. Like, it's just a bad matchup. And you're right. Like, I wanted to get to Dallas. I just can't get to Dallas in this game. I think Miami has to be the play. I want Miami to lose. Don't get me wrong, because I would love. But
oh yeah, well that would help your playoff chances. So like, I can see. I mean, look, it's disgusting, but if we have to cheer for the Cowboys for the Bills' sakes, I mean, I get it. I've been there before.
But, yeah, no, like, I think Miami is the right play because, I mean, no offense, we saw this a week ago. Dallas got killed on the road. I mean, I don't have any more hope that they're going to suddenly beat their second winning team of the year on the road against a team that's good at home. So, yeah, it's
and something has to, like, you know, the Miami thing, like, yeah, sure, if you want to call it the battle of the frauds, sure, like, that's fine, but, like, it has to end for one of these teams. So, like, that's my problem with that stat, because that's all I've heard is both these teams can't win over 500, but Dallas did it, therefore we should take them. It's like, well, no, like, Dallas had a good spot against Philadelphia at home, where they're good.
Yeah,
and they're not good.
How do they look against the other winning teams other than Philadelphia? Killed by the Niners, murdered by the Bills. How they look in
San Francisco? Like,
yeah, murdered by lost to Philly the first time, murdered by San Francisco, murdered by Buffalo. So let's run to the window and bet Dallas and pick them. Okay, good luck with that.
Exactly. I can't fucking believe that we're gonna. And again, some sharps are on the Cowboy. And I just don't get it.
I can't get there with that.
I can't get there. And again, numbers play. I'm getting Miami with 2 points. Like, that's a literally lock and key. I'm hammering that after this episode if I haven't already. But overplay as well, by the way, 50.5. It's very, very, very chalky. But I don't have too many overplays this week. And this is the kind of game where I do expect a Dallas bounce back. I do expect a Vic Fangio defense to exploit some weaknesses. At the same time, I do expect Miami to be able to score a lot because they are at home. If Tyreek does come back, I'm expecting a big performance from him. So, yeah, over, but it's a slight lean.
See, that's interesting. I leaned under because I thought Miami would run, and I like the way Miami's defense has been playing lately, so I think they could hold. Buffalo's defense held Dallas. I think Miami's good too, but let's just...
I see this as like a 36-14 at the worst. Like, literally, you're going to be that close to the over, but 38-14 is something that, like, I think is more realistic. Like, I don't see Miami getting to 40, kind of like the Bills, but I do believe the Bills' front four is better than Miami's front four. And I think with that half-second difference for Dak Prescott, he might be able to move the ball a little better. So, again, slight lean, nothing too confident, but...
Gotcha.
All right, Sunday Night Football. It's the goddamn Patriots. Bill Belichick in his final primetime game as a Pats head coach, most likely not confirmed.
Merry Christmas Eve. Enjoy this one, folks.
Yeah, Merry Christmas Eve. I'll be at my parents'. It'll be Sunday night. My wife will be pissed at me, ready to go home. I'm going to kick her out and say, screw it, I'm watching the damn game here because I'm not missing this shit. Even though it's a shit game, the Denver fucking Broncos are going to host the goddamn Pats on Christmas Eve. Why couldn't we fucking edit this to the Peacock Saturday game? Why has it got to be the Bills? Why couldn't you fucking flex this shit? Fucking Broncos. I'm so fucking done with this team. Don't worry, though, folks. We're laying 7. 7.5. It fucking moved again. We're laying 7.5 at home.
There's no way. Can't.
We're laying 7.5.
I'm changing it now. It's getting changed.
70 plus 295 for the Bats. Over under is 35.5. And the Broncos are getting the money and the tickets.
Nope.
I can't do that. Go. You better go. I'm about to break something. My dog's running. My dog's running away. He knows.
So the Broncos, by the way, having covered 11 of their last 12 as favorites against the AFC. I originally was going to pick Denver, even at 7. Over 7, there's no chance. Like, I'm sorry. Denver is going to play a conservative game. There might be like 10 points scored in this game, like throughout, if New England's defense plays the way they have. And yeah, I'll let you rage. I can't back Denver over a touchdown.
How do you back Denver as a 7-point home favorite?
Oh, 7.5 now.
This is the highest number they have had with Russell Wilson as a favorite since week 2 when they played the Houston Texans. And they were a 10-point favorite. They won the game 16-9. They failed to cover. I mean, like, look, we have to talk about the angle of the Patriots for the sake of giving a full handicap. How do you lay 7.5 with this Broncos? I can't. I'm a Broncos fan, and I can't do this.
I mean, no offense, they held like it was a 10-point game with the Chiefs. Like New England hasn't exactly mailed it in either.
Tell you what, let's go in opposite directions. It's going to be a snow game in Denver, by the way. Under 34.5 is the move.
Is it really going to be a snow game?
It's going to be a snow game, and it's under 35.5. I'm locking that in.
God.
Yeah. Why the fuck is Denver not a 1-point favorite? Let's be real. I mean, what the fuck is this team? What is this? What in the fucking world has happened to this team? Literally, the media was on their dick for the last 7 weeks, being like, look at the turnaround. Look at what Sean Payton did. Yeah, I saw Sean Payton yell at Russell Wilson like he did in week 4. I saw Russell Wilson not be able to do anything. Now, I will admit, against the Lions, was there an offside that got called? Yes. Was it actually an offside? No. And did you hear Denver bitching about the refs? Did they take a $75,000 fine for it? No. They took the loss with grace. You know why? Because they got their asses kicked. They lost. Be a fucking man, Kansas City. I'm getting sidetracked. Bailey Zappi's playing better. The Patriots defense is always a threat. They kept Mahomes contained for the most part in the game against Kansas City. Where do you just like, I mean, the only angle I see with Denver is that this is a big home spot. You're getting like one of the worst AFC teams. You lost to the Jets. You lost to the Texans. I mean,
let's be honest. You had a stretch where you won 6 in a row, and then other than that stretch, you've been terrible. I mean,
yeah, but look at the stretch. You go to Buffalo, you win because there's a 12th man on the field. You missed a field goal. You know, like, yeah, Russell Wilson, I will say, like, the one game where he's like, yeah, we have a lot to improve on. You barely beat Green Bay. A lot of these games came down to, like, fourth quarter drives under the 2-minute drill where they get in field goal range, or Russell Wilson gets the game-winning touchdown to Cortland Sutton. I mean, that plan only works so long.
And don't get me wrong, that can happen in this game, but you know what? That doesn't get you covering 7.5.
Exactly, and that's my problem. This number is the second highest number as a favorite for Russell Wilson as a Denver Bronco. 3-11 and 1 ATS as a favorite. Russell Wilson with the Denver Broncos. Now, I will say the Broncos, they have won 3 straight as a favorite at home. They have covered 2 of those last 3. If you look at the last 5, they're 4-1 straight up. They're 2-1 ATS. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I do believe in my heart of hearts Denver wins this one. I just, like, 7.5. It's like I'm not running to the books for this one, and I'm a Broncos fan. Like, you would have to be asinine.
This to me looks like 16-9. It really does.
Yeah.
This will looks like 16-9, and you lose by half a point.
No, this looks like 18-14. It's the Broncos game. It's going to be an ugly score. You're going to get a scoregami opportunity. Like, I mean, wouldn't it shock you if it was like 19? Like, I mean, doesn't this look like 19-11, 19-12, something dumb? Like the Patriots get 4 field goals in the snow. Broncos get like 19 because they get set. They had 2 2-point conversions, and like, you know, it's nonstop weird. Like,
they miss an extra point and get like 2 field goals, and so it's like 12-8 or some shit because like the Patriots get a safety. And then like 2 field goals and a safety. Yeah, it's something fucking weird.
It's gonna be like, and it's a snow game. It's gonna be an ugly ass game. I again, underplay. Take the Pats plus 7.5. Denver to win. I mean, I can't back the Patriots on the road. They do suck. I don't think they've won a road game all year. I'll double check. But Mansmann, do you have any thoughts? I think I'm done raging.
No, I'll leave it. You it was masterful. So.
I just love that we paid $250 million for Walmart Russ and we got Wish Russ. Patriots 2-4 ATS and straight up on the road.
I will say that was a bad game last week, man. I knew the Lions were going to do well. Denver completely no-showed. That was ugly.
I mean, God, I just can't fucking believe
your defense too. That's the one thing that scares me about Denver in this game. Like, did the defense just mail it in? Like, are they done? If they just peak,
they might be.
Well, again,
I don't know,
New England
man.
sucks. I think you guys will win. I think you're gonna win.
I think we're gonna win, and this is gonna be the spark that like lights us up in the next 2 weeks because you have the Chargers and Raiders.
I hope you guys win. Otherwise, I'm gonna hear the cop cars, and I'm gonna be like, oh, they're going to Steve's parents' house. There they go.
Oh boy. All right, Monday football. We got 3 games on Monday for Christmas Day. Starting at 1:00, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. They are traveling to Arrowhead Stadium to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are minus 500. They're laying 10. Raiders are plus 385 money line. Over under is 40.5. Chiefs are getting the tickets and the spread and the money. We're an hour and a half in. Money, Mansmann. 3 games left. Chiefs minus 10.
Yeah, I'm going quick with this one. It's really, they covered this number in Vegas. Kansas City wins the division with a win. They've won 7 straight against the division at home. Wanted to play the Raiders because I hate the Chiefs and I don't like sort of where their season's going. But Chiefs are clearly the play here. They're going to win big, clinch the division at home, Kansas City.
Raiders on the road, they're not good. Chiefs at home, they've lost 2 straight, but they lost to the Bills and Eagles. They're still better and more respectable than the Raiders. I heard this phrase, it's a buy low spot for the Chiefs, but you're laying 10. I don't feel like I'm buying low.
I think they said that because the line was bigger in Vegas, and it's basically the same line as it was in Vegas, but now they're in Kansas City. So that was the Sharps. They were like, that's why originally I was giving a look to the Raiders, but
yeah, Raiders have lost 5 straight on the road. They're 2-4 ATS this year. Their one road cover was a plus 14 against Miami. They lost by 7. Chiefs offense, they haven't been great this year. I could see why some people are on the Raiders, but this is like I'm following what the public thinks, because this is like a kind of matchup where if even the public is off of Kansas City, something must be really wrong. But it seems like they're still there at 60+%. So I'm going to follow them and be a Barney here. This is an underplay too, by the way, under 40.5. Chiefs are averaging 25 points per game at home. Their defense has not given up more than 21 all year at home. The Raiders had not eclipsed over 17 all year on the road. And the Chiefs defense actually held them to fucking 17 the last time. And opponents only averaged 16 in Arrowhead. So I just see this being like again, very weird. It's going to be close, but I expect a like 30-10, 30-7, or, 31-9. Like I could see this being very like right at 40. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
All right, no overplays for Mansmann. Moving on.
I'm sorry. No, I'll go over, because I think Kansas City is going to put an exclamation point. Whenever a team's going to clinch the division in a game like this, I always like that team to score a lot. So yeah, I'm expecting one of those, like Kansas City puts up 30 and then a few late scores for the Raiders. So
Raiders are also coming off their biggest win ever.
Yeah, so fade the Raiders, go with the Chiefs. Yeah.
You know what? We had two division where the road team was the favorite. This is a road underdog for the division. Road dogs have gone 14-22 straight up. They're 16-18-1 ATS. But since week 6, 7-18 straight up, 8-17 ATS. Not a team you want to bet on.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, so give me the Chiefs -10. And you know what? You convinced me. I'm going to take the over. It is a Monday game. That's what concerns me. All the Monday games have gone like under this year, regardless of the number. And that's what scares me. But 3 games, one of them has to hit the under at this. They have to hit the over at this point. This is the spot. You're 100% right. All right. Moving on. Next division road dog. It's the New York Giants, Tommy DeVito. They're traveling to Lincoln Financial. The Eagles are laying 13.5. They're -900, over under 43. Tommy Cutlets is a 6-1 road underdog. Keeping this one short and sweet too. It was a great story while it lasted. There's something wrong with Jalen Hurts, though. I don't know if it's an injury. I don't know if this is like a pride situation. I don't know if it's like a lack of confidence since you lost to San Francisco, but you and AJ Brown aren't in sync again.
Did you see the stories like that people in the Eagles want Jalen Hurts to be like a better leader in the locker room and stuff? Did you see that?
I didn't, but I heard like snippets, and honestly, like, doesn't it just seem? I mean, you look at Jalen Hurts, you look at how he conducts himself on film, and it like doesn't it seem believable that he's just like literally he reminds me of Kyler Murray in that sense, where just some guys are just not leaders, some guys are just quarterbacks.
I mean, I don't know. They were fine when they were winning. Like, they were fine when they were in the Super Bowl this year. I'm telling you, man, NFL, it's like, remember 2 weeks ago, Sean McDermott, Al-Qaeda McDermott, and he's getting fired. And now it's like, oh, we got his back and everyone in the Bills.
Listen, the Bills have to come out strong and fierce, just like the 7 hijackers that went into Tower 2.
But you know what I mean? It's like this league is so fraudulent because literally you go, you win a couple games, everybody forgets that shit. You lose a couple, and it's like, oh, Jalen Hurts, he sucks. He's not a leader.
No,
where were those stories when they were fucking 8-1 winning every game? When he led the Eagles back against Buffalo, it was like, oh, Jalen Hurts, he's a fucking MVP.
You were saying these stories about Kyler Murray when they were doing good in 2021. You were like, this guy still sucks. He's not a leader. Nobody has faith in him. Like, I heard these things from you. They just get muffled and muted because winning cures everything.
Yeah.
But no, Jalen Hurts does not. I don't know what it is. It's just I don't think this guy comes across as a leader. He doesn't seem like a guy. I won't say maybe he holds more accountability, and I think that like when he lost the Super Bowl, he was like, "Great, well, this is my background, this is my goal." I think he has right intentions, but it's just like I don't know, man. You go in certain fields in your life, and places, you learn like who a confident leader is. You learn who somebody is that you want to back, and you learn when somebody is a follower and a mindless puppet.
I will say with Jalen Hurts, you're starting to wonder, especially since the Super Bowl, like, was this a guy who was just carried by a good defense last year? Because
maybe
with the defense not playing as well, it's starting to catch up to him, especially against like good teams. Starting to catch up with him.
Just remember in 2021, before his great year, he was like a 9-8 or 10-8, 10-9.
Oh, and by the way, pencilhead, doofus, Matt Patricia. I don't know how these guys still keep getting jobs. Way to blow a bet last week for me, dick fucker.
Oh, fucking Matt Patricia. Yeah, you know what? I wasn't gonna do this. Giants plus 13.5. I have to. No, here's why. Truth be told, I expect this to be a dead under game, under 43.5. And I just don't see an Eagles shutout here. Their defense has been very, very rough lately. I don't see this being a 2-touchdown score. Now, I know the Eagles. I know they've been very good against the Giants. I think it's like
10 straight now at home against the Giants. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're very good against the Giants. They cover for a majority of it, but I just think, look, if this was Daniel Jones, I'd be like, yeah, this is a good bounce back spot. This is a guy who won in Monday Night Football. I don't think he wins here, but like 13.5, I could just see a backdoor cover. And I don't know how you like this line just seems to me like it's still the Eagles as like that Super Bowl contender, and right now they're not there. Yeah. This is it's a prove it game.
This is my double D play of the week. Donkey dog play of the week. And I mean, look, there's no sharp support for this. There's really not much support in general. Like, I've seen this Eagles team. I've seen what they are.
We're doing double incinerators at the next recap if this fucking hit. If this doesn't hit.
Like, how silly laying 13.5 points against anybody right now. I mean,
it's a prove it game for the Philadelphia Eagles. They need to prove it here. Like they can't just win.
They can? I mean, let's be honest. Like, 2 games, they win 2 games. Has that equaled 13 like all year? I mean, I think they beat Tampa one time by like 17, and then every other game they won by like 3 points. And you're expecting them to cover you're expecting them to win by 2 touchdowns. Yeah, okay, the Tommy Cutlets thing, that's not my handicap. My handicap is the Giants being coached, being feisty against a division opponent that they've lost like 10 straight. Let's be honest, last week of the year, they did cover this. It was a 6-point loss for the Giants.
The Giants are 3-1 straight up in ATS in their last 4. I know I mentioned last week they won 3 in a row, and like, why would they not cover against the Saints? And I looked like a donkey, and they got their asses kicked, and now it's like Eagles minus 13.5. This is why you're looking at a donkey double incinerator here, because
I wonder if we're going donkey the other way, like, again, was it just they lost to the Saints and everyone was like, oh, well, now the Giants are shit again? I mean, I don't know. The Giants were coming off their Super Bowl and they got humbled. I could see them getting back to it and playing a feisty game against Philly. And no offense, like with the stories coming out of Philly, again, team rallies, they could win by 30 and we're going to look like the biggest donkos on the planet. But I don't know, 13.5 is a lot for me, for an Eagles team that wins every game close.
I'm declaring it now, and, I'm going to see if I have time.
What are we getting incinerated if yeah, we may owe the public incinerator. If like the Giants lose by like 50, we're gonna owe the public incinerator, I think.
Yeah, this is we're gonna throw this out here. I'm making the announcement public. Yeah, we are both on the Giants plus 13.5. If they do not cover, it is a double incinerator for the distinguished DeGents.
Yeah, that's fair. We deserve it.
Yeah, that is. I'm gonna fix the typo there. Yeah. Okay. And this is underplay too. And I think at that number, when you're talking unders, unless it's a shutout, it has to cover because the possibilities and the numbers, it just seems like it's few and far between. I ran into the situation before with a big number that I tried to cover and take the under very low. There's only certain possibilities, and the rarity of it hitting.
I just don't like a lot of the sharps I've heard. Their handicap for the game is, oh, well, the Giants are just going to get killed. And it's like, well, what has Philly shown that suggests that they could do that, even if they win?
They couldn't kill Drew Lock.
Like, I could see them winning comfortably by 13 and the Giants covering the number.
I mean, the number is just too high. Like, if you got 8.5, 7.5, it makes us think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely.
All right. Last game, Monday night, game of the year, maybe the future Super Bowl matchup. The Baltimore Ravens catching 5.5 on the road, traveling to the San Francisco 49ers, both number one seeds in the playoffs. Ravens are 2-1 road underdogs. The Niners are minus 245. The over-under 47.5. Monty Mansmann. AFC versus NFC. It's the Ravens versus the Niners.
I think you know where I'm going with this one.
5.5 points.
It's a lot.
Where are we going?
Well, I guess I needed a fade of the week. This makes sense. Fade of the week originally was going to be my second dog of the week, but I'll just make it my fade of the week. Baltimore Ravens plus 5.5. We talked about it.
You didn't. No.
Yeah, eight straight wins against the NFC for the Ravens. We know what primetime Lamar can do. We know how good he is against the NFC. I don't know, man. Like,
I think you do.
To be
at this
a close
point, you
game.
know, like, give it to it. Like, you know this one. Like, primetime Lamar plus an NFC team.
I expect this to be a close game. I do.
You faded here.
5.5 is a lot for this.
I am on the Niners.
Really? Wow.
This is simply like the Niners are clearly the better team. The Ravens have gotten away with playing a lot of shit teams at home this year. The Ravens, I mean, you look at that Rams game, it went to overtime. They didn't cover, but they were a big favorite. This is a team that went into Pittsburgh and lost in the fourth quarter at the last second. This is the same team who lost to Cleveland 31-33 at home. This is a team who lost in overtime to the Indianapolis Colts. But you look at these other teams they beat, the Jags, the Chargers, the Seahawks, the Cardinals. Their best win realistically was the Detroit Lions, where it was 38-6. But I think the Lions and the Niners are just on two different levels. And this is just a matter of, I just think the Niners are on a way better level than this Ravens team. The Ravens, and don't get me wrong, everything you say is right. Ravens Ravens against the NFC, Lamar Jackson against the NFC, primetime Lamar. This should have been the fade of the week, but it was a big favorite, so I didn't think it made sense. But no, Ravens.
I mean, both teams you could fade. They're both really good.
But Niners are at home. Like, that's the key. The Niners are also at home. The Niners are very good at home, put up big numbers. I just don't think that, like, I don't think 5.5 is enough. I think it needs to be 6 or more.
And because I just see this part of me that, like, as a Bills fan, hopes you're right. Because if Miami trounces Dallas and Baltimore loses, I actually like Baltimore next week against Miami to win, and then potentially set up, if the Bills handle their business, an AFC East championship game week 18. So,
and I just think that I don't know, man. I'm not saying the Ravens are frauds because that's not the right number. But you look at the strength of schedule. You look at who the Niners have played and beaten. You look at the Ravens, it's not even close. The Ravens have not played to the level of competition that the Niners have, and they have the same record. They're both a number one seed. And normally I'm with you. I would take the AFC team, but non-conference road favorite, East Coast going to the West Coast. Primetime game, it's, and Unless Brock Purdy lays another fucking egg in primetime, I just don't see. But everybody's healthy. You get George Kittle, you got Christian McCaffrey, you have Brandon Ayuk, you have Deebo Samuel.
And look, I'm never going to give you shit for, you know what I mean? It's hard to give anyone shit for who they pick in this game because it's like, you know, 1 and 2 best teams in football, at least from how they've played.
Yeah, no, this is just the Niners are on another level than the Ravens. The Ravens haven't played anyone significantly close to the same level of competition. And again, it's not that the Ravens are fraud. They had to win all those games. It's just like Lamar has to lose at some point to an NFC team. Why not here? Like, doesn't this just seem like the spot it happens?
Yeah, it could. I mean, you know, if you play in the odds, he's got to lose eventually. Isn't it weird, though? Like, when you think about it, and I guess we could end with this, just little fun. I know we're close to 2 hours, so we don't want to go too much longer. But real quick, what's your top 5? Like, top 5 teams in football in order?
Ooh. Both conferences?
Like, yeah, just top 5 in football total. Like, what a weird year. Like, get top 5.
Niners are 1.
I think everyone agrees with that.
I'm going to put the Ravens. God. Ravens, I guess, by default, they have to be 2, but God, I could make the argument for them to be 3. And then you put maybe Miami 2, Ravens 3. Eagles 5, Chiefs 6. I mean, God, I'm trying to.
Like, I'm trying to pull up at this point in the year, I would basically have, like, thinking about it, Niners 1. I mean, I might go Dolphins 2, honestly. I am not sold on the Ravens. Okay. Ravens 3.
Okay.
Cowboys. Like, is it bad? I want to put the Bills as like a top 5 team.
Yeah, that's not good. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get on it.
I guess the Chiefs. Like, would you have the Chiefs in the top 5?
So Niners 1, Ravens 2, Cowboys 4, Miami 3,
Eagles 5.
Eagles 5.
Boy, oh boy. There's a lot of sharps that don't have the Eagles as like a top 15 team. The point is, it's just such a weird year. We're getting somebody crazy. Like, I could see the Rams or the Bucks or
the Rams are a dark horse playoff contender.
The Colts,
I'm telling you right now.
I see some dark horse team going because, like, the Ravens are quote unquote the best team in the AFC. I don't trust them to win a playoff game. Like, until they win a playoff game, I don't trust it.
I don't know who they're going to play. That's the problem.
Because they can't play the Bills in the playoffs. Like, that's the only thing. They cannot play Buffalo in the playoffs. Buffalo has their number.
Home, though. The Bills on the road in Baltimore. That could be.
Bills have their number, though.
That's true.
Maybe I should go to the game, except I'm afraid to get killed.
It's a weird year, but it's also like you have like how many teams playing with backup quarterbacks. You have how many teams injured. And you have a Gardner Minshew who's taking the Colts to the wild card. Like, who would have fucking thought? But no, it's a weird year. But I think that you get this kind of thing when there's like a changing of the guard. You have, superpower teams lining up. You have teams like the Jags who are now a wild card contender just for no reason, even though I think Trevor Lawrence isn't that good. But and I'll end it with this. Like, it is weird, but it breaks up the monotony of the NFL, and I appreciate that. All right, Money Mansman. 15 games. We got through it.
Ooh. Yeah.
All right. Best bets for Big Bucks Beta. Lock of the week. Miami -1.5. Dog of the week. Indy +2.5, +114 on the money line. Fade of the week. We are fading the Chicago Bears. Cardinals +4.5 is the play. Under 47 for the Detroit-Minnesota game. Over of the week. Dual distinguished DeGents over 43.5 for Buffalo LA Chargers.
Yeah, right. So I'll start there real quick. Again, over We agree. Buffalo Chargers over 43.5. My under of the week, Commanders Jets. I think it's 37, I think. Under of the week. Best bet, Cleveland Browns minus 2.5. Dog of the week, the Donkey Dog, Giants plus 13.5. And my fade of the week, Baltimore Ravens in the game of the year against the Niners plus 5.5.
This is going to be a hell of a Christmas weekend. Monty Mansmann, the last word for our podcast listeners. Thank you for always following us. Thank you for listening. Happy holidays. Stay safe. Gamble responsibly. As always, I am Steve Big Bucks Beta. Money Mansmann.
Make that motherfucking money.
We are signing off. Have a safe and happy holidays, DeGents.
Absolutely. Happy holidays.